So what if I told you there's a report that's been published every single week for over 25 years, all dedicated to answering just one question? Today, we're going to dive into that source material and explore the world it describes.
Yeah, it's the big one, right? The question that's on basically everyone's mind at some point. But here's the thing. While most of us just kind of ponder it, this one source has been obsessively collecting answers for decades.
So, let's dive in. And just to be clear, our goal here isn't to convince you one way or the other. We're not here to prove or disprove anything. We just want to explore the world this material describes and understand the perspective it's offering on life, death, and what it claims might come next. All right, so where does this whole body of work even start? Well, it kicks off by diagnosing what it sees as a major problem in our world today. This deep, fundamental sense of being spiritually disconnected. And it doesn't just say, we're disconnected. It points a finger at a specific cause, materialism. The report pulls quotes from spirit teachers who basically say our obsession with, money and stuff makes us completely forget about our connection to each other and to the planet itself. And this has real consequences, according to the report. It claims this focus has created a huge cultural taboo around even talking about the afterlife. It argues this taboo is kind of propped up by what it calls materialist science on one side and dogmatic religion on the other. And the result? Millions of people are left totally unprepared for a journey it says is inevitable for all of us. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the proposed solution? Well, the entire reason this report exists is to push back against that taboo. Its whole mission is to just methodically lay out the evidence it's found for an afterlife. So you might be wondering, what kind of evidence are we actually talking about here? I mean, what does it present to challenge that mainstream materialist view? Well, it's not just one thing. The reports are absolutely packed with different kinds of phenomena.
Get this. The source actually breaks it down into more than 20 different areas of evidence. But here are the big ones, the ones that come up again and again. You've got near-death experiences, or NDEs, after-death communications, what they call ADCs, out-of-body experiences, or OBEs, and even stuff like electronic voice phenomena, where voices are supposedly captured on recordings. It's a really wide range.
Now, the reports really zoom in on near-death experiences. But not just any NDE. They put a huge emphasis on what are called veridical NDEs. And what that means is, these are the cases where someone, who might even be clinically dead, reports back information that can later be proven to be true, things they had no way of knowing. And they give this incredible example from a cardiac surgeon, a Dr. Rudy. He tells this story about a patient of his who was clinically dead on the operating table. Later, this patient was able to describe super specific details from the room, including, get this, the exact words on Post-it notes that were stuck to the surgeon's computer monitor. There's just no way they could have seen that.
But it's not all just about data and verifiable facts. The report makes a really strong point about something else, the raw power of direct personal experience. Because for some people, that's the thing that flips the switch from just believing to knowing.
And the story of Dr. Marjorie Woollacott really drives this home. Here you have a respected neuroscience professor who describes living this complete double life. In public, she's the serious scientist. But in private, after having this profound spiritual experience, she was a seeker, absolutely terrified that if she shared what happened, her career would be over. And that really gets to a core idea in the source material. For people who've actually had these experiences, like the famous psychiatrist Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the whole debate becomes kind of pointless. As she's quoted here, the experience is the proof. They don't need anyone else to validate it for them. Okay, so if we're talking about direct communication, about getting that personal proof, there is one thing the report comes back to over and over and over again, and that's mediumship. So let's be super clear on how the source defines this. It doesn't present mediumship as something spooky or supernatural. Instead, it's framed as a totally natural, though, pretty rare, human ability. Basically, the ability to act as a bridge between our world and the spirit world. And to back up this idea that it's natural, the report uses this really powerful quote. It's attributed to a Monsignor Hugh Benson. Now, the crazy part is, Benson was a Catholic priest who was totally against spiritualism when he was alive. But then, supposedly after he passed, he communicated this message saying that our worlds were never meant to be separated. And to show you just how big of an impact this can have, the source points to some pretty mind-blowing examples. Like take Chico Xavier in Brazil. He was a medium who apparently channeled over 450 books from spirit sources. I mean, his influence was so huge that in his home state, he was voted Person of the Century, beating out the soccer god Pelé, That's insane.
So, what's the big takeaway here? I mean, why does any of this matter? According to the report, what's the point of looking into the afterlife when we're, living right here, right now?
Well, the source is really clear on this, especially through messages like this one, again from Monsignor Benson. It says that what really matters in the afterlife isn't what religion you followed or how much faith you had. Nope, it's all about the kind of life you led, the character you built. It's about your actions, your kindness, your service. And that brings everything full circle, doesn't it? The report argues that the real key to spiritual growth is to remember a truth that indigenous cultures have known forever, that everything is connected. All life, here and on the other side, is part of one big web.
So, at the end of the day, the message from this quarter-century-long project really isn't about being obsessed with death. It's the opposite. It's a roadmap for how to live a better, more meaningful life right here. A life built on service, kindness, and connection. So, the universe this report describes is one where our connections are unbreakable and where we're ultimately accountable for how we live. It's a universe of profound connection. And so the final thought it leaves you with is pretty simple but powerful. What if it's right?